Alright, you guys, it is I Hell Gear, and this is a little bit of a discussion, and I figured now that it's all right. I'm sorry, sugarcoating this is not my style. So, as always, I'm going to just shoot straight and get to the point. This essentially is not just going to be a discussion thing; it's going to be a state of the game little deal here. So, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. This is something that everyone playing Snoopy Town should be having in their minds, if not thinking about going forward. Now, as many of you know, the Color Rush event has come and gone. And if you have all the characters up to date, this is what your cast should look like. There should be a lot more outfits, of course, but I didn't get all the outfits, unfortunately. Characters, so far, everybody to date. Now, I want to talk about this out the gate because with Color Rush, we were given Shirley. And Shirley, as the social media has said, is the last character added to our towns for the time being. And when you look at things, this is something that multiple Snoopy Town and Charlie Brown communities have been talking about for about 2.5 years now. This is not a subject that is new. Because for quite some time, the biggest question has been who is left to add to Snoopy's Town Tale? They're running out of characters, they being the Pixel development team. Real talk, there are still many characters left to be added to this game. Now, whether or not rights are involved, like with certain characters on here, Dolores being a perfect example of rights, that is something that Pixel is going to have to either work around or get into contact with Jeannie Schultz and Lee Mendelson about character rights. Because, simply put, if there are new characters that show up in the Apple TV Plus cartoon, odds are Snoopy's Town Tale players are going to want to see them in this game. So some negotiations are going to have to be made. There's no getting around that one. Now, characters are another interesting thing because, like I said, Shirley is it for now. And what does this mean with events? And as you've seen in the Facebook section, we got an event coming up. You know what month it is, folks, so you should already know what's going to happen. Now, of course, I'm going to have to talk about a very interesting thing. And that very interesting thing, unfortunately, is going to have to deal with hitting the development team's pockets. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to go right at the development team's pockets. As you guys know, this is the current deal right now. You can get it for another couple days or so. Give Marcy her PJs while she's sitting here reading a book. I use this pack for an example because of our events. If you've noticed, the new character that's introduced for an event in the month is the $15 slot. Well, with no characters, that means the $15 slot either A is not going to exist, or B, Pixel's going to figure out how to fill this with some fodder, which, if I'm going to be honest here, probably isn't going to get bought. So that's going to be the first change that you will probably see starting with the upcoming April event. The $15 slot. Now, in all honesty, the $5 pass and the $10 bundle, we might see the $10 bundle still exist for outfits. So, what can this spot actually fill? Well, since the whole big issue is outfits for characters, that is one way to fill up the spot. Personally, outfits are only for one event. However, as of recently, and we got to give shouts to Paul for this one, doing previous events with the outfits to get some loot and a couple of charms for the event makes it so that these one-time event outfits have some use. And that's enterprise thinking. One big question that I've been getting is, why is it that all of these other outfits are coming out later? Why didn't we see Marcy's PJs during the sleepover event? Apparently, the answer is popularity demand. It's like, well, this character I like, but didn't have any PJs. So let's just release a little packet later with some more stuff and give that character their outfit so they can mess around on the sleeping spot. Let me just pan over to my sleeping area here. So they can go over here and jump around for a couple of 100 coins and one or two charms. Kind of like how I have people doing in the space area. Let's free you two up. And how they'll do in the ice area. So on and so forth. Now, if you've been paying attention to the most recent events, we've been getting a nice big chunk of area, which acts as a central hub for events. And as I have mentioned before, space is becoming an issue. And this is where I got to hit the development team in the mouth once more, because this is something they're going to have to address. So, development team, if you are watching this, and you should be, we got to talk about land. I've made this debate once more, but since all the land is up and there are talks of possible expansions, we need to talk about prices. All right? We need to talk about a lot of these prices. When you have various areas that are almost one meal ticket, if not an actual meal ticket, but we'll get big chunks of area for land or for these events, and then you have the Beagle Buck cash shots. And I'll go back to these too. Something has got to give when it comes to the game's economy. I understand we have these hotspot shots for people who are stacked with loot. But how many players do you know are stacked with Beagle Bucks? You know, 1950. Let's throw this out here because this seems to constantly be ignored all the time. And I do mean it needs to be ignored all the time. So here's the thing: 1,700 Beagle Bucks in an in-app purchase is $50. So $50 for 1,700, right? Now let's go down the wire, shall we? And this is the realistic thing here. So that's 1,950. So that means $50. Essentially, you're going to be paying about $56. Give or take, you just buy the 50 for 1,700 and then three $2 packs for your 1,950. So, with this one being 1,950, that's $52, right? No, it's a lot more. So we got 50, 52.50, another 50 some odd dollars. And then you got this one that's coming up on, well, that's another $50 and some change. And another $50 and some change. And this one is $52. So we have a nice little stretch of pieces of land. Hopefully not this one either. That one I can almost afford. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we got Mill Ticket City. So you have 6 plots of land that total $300 in in-app purchases. And I don't know how many years it takes to stack up that much. I've never had that much Beagle Bucks at one time in the game. 1,400 a max. And I had to stack that for 3 years. Eventually, we're going to run out of space. And when I say we, I'm talking about players are going to run out of space. And when an event shows up where they have to choose between selling things that they don't want to get rid of just for the sake of space, because that's the option that's being said here. Well, if you don't have any space to afford a new area, just sell stuff from old events. That way you have the space around. Sometimes selling things for the old events, they don't come back. And as someone who has been playing this game for about what, almost 5.5 years, I can tell you that there are some designs that just do not come back. Eventually, one of 3 things is going to happen when it comes to all of this expensive real estate and the fact that we get a nice little hub for each of these events. And the development team is going to have to choose one, if not multiple, of these 3 options. Option number 3, they're going to have to, and this is what had the whole development team pause and then discuss everything going on. The Facebook page actually did address this. You're going to have to readjust the economy. You have to readjust the economy on getting the coins, readjust the economy on the gift boxes, readjust the economy on the Beagle Bucks. Because if anybody on the development team has a correct answer of how I'm supposed to stack up $300 in in-app purchases for Beagle Bucks? I would love to hear that story. I'd love to hear that answer. I would have brought this up at the Q&A, but I had to go through doctor's appointments. Option number 2. They're going to have to start giving away some of these plots of land, minimum 5 of these plots of land, for free. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Going to have to eventually give away 5 plots of land, minimum 5 plots of land, for free. You can sell a lot of your areas. I could sell all kinds of stuff. I could sell things from extra buildings, right? From when we had the Perfect City little update, where it was a whole bunch of these rich looking buildings. Sell all that. That didn't give me much space. In fact, all that's left of my part of Perfect City are these 3 buildings right here. That's it. And me putting Joe Rich Kid's house right next to the Perfect City mini update with all the rich looking houses, that just makes sense. Players are not going to have the space to put a hub for an event as well as other events. And don't get me wrong, having new events, like new events in place of certain events, like how we had this color event in place of St. Patty's Day, while still selling St. Patty's decor for our St. Patty's Day areas in our towns, is nice. But it still doesn't adjust the fact that we're going to need the space. And then, of course, there's option number 1, which is long overdue, but eventually is going to be what is going to happen. And that's a lot of the prices for these areas of land are getting slashed by at least 40%. Now, if you want to do it by half, great. But minimum 40% price slashing. And in some instances, offer up these gift boxes to buy land. But when you have meal ticket for chips in multiple spots and places that are close to a meal ticket, and the lack of economy not being able to purchase this stuff, players shouldn't have to play for 4 years just to open up one thing of land. This is something that is going to have to be sat down by everybody. It's like, all right, look, we need to deal with this land issue. And with events giving us more decorations and a central hub that takes up a nice space of this land, players are going to need to be able to put this stuff in their towns and complete the events. This probably isn't going to happen for the April event, but sometime around May, if not June, the team's going to have to sit down and address this land issue. Because here's the thing, you can expand on the land. You can give us more land, and players will happily take more land. But if players can't afford to buy the land, you're wasting your efforts. All of this ties into the economy of the game. And eventually, it all has to be addressed moving forward. You know, A 70 tile wide area in a place where I don't have enough space to put it is not fun. And believe it or not having the space to put things does in fact a player's progress when they go through events. TLDR segment. One, development team's going to have to start talking to Genie, Schultz, and Mendelsohn about other characters to add to the game. Two, development team's going to have to sit down and work out the economy and land. Not one or the other, both. State of the game is going to need some adjusting. And the sooner this adjusting comes up, the better it's going to be, not just for the development team, not just for the moderators, not just for the community managers, but for the players in general. All of this is eventually going to have to happen. And delaying the inevitable is not going to help anyone. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I'm looking forward to your responses. But for now, I take my goose from the oven because I'm done.